And we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Endless Multiverse, the show that brings you all sorts of nerddom and geekdom from every corner in the damn multiverse. I'm your host, Andy B, as always, and this week, Chainsaw Reacts, aka Jordan, is not here. He's taking the week off because today it is his amazing wife's birthday. The goes, so happy birthday! But I am joined by two amazing guests. We got Mr. Canagraz and Omnimedia. Guys, how you doing today?
All right.
Doing well, doing well.
Glad to hear it. Oh my god, I just saw what Canagraz's title was. What head of public relations? I feel like there's another company that might need you for public relations. Uh,
Oh, I left there because, oh my God, that's a tire fire over there. I need a company that has solid standing. There's no controversies about them. That is my job. Keep things cool.
yeah,
Good luck with that.
yeah, we will get to that for sure. But yeah, so we have a lot of top. This week was crazy, y'all. I felt like okay, I'm gonna do something on Friday. Maybe this could be like a low key show, but there were a lot of things that went down. There's some good, there's some drama, there's some what? Okay. But listen, we everyone who watches the Endless Multiverse, you all know how we start things out here. So we're gonna let Constant kick us off, and they're gonna right into the news. So Constantine, take it away.
All right then. On with the show.
MCU drama. Let's start with it. So this is a little movie coming out that got announced almost 3 years ago, before the pandemic messed everything up, called Blade. And I realized I just completely sized that image completely wrong, so that sucks. The Blade reboot has lost its director as Bazam Tariq, I think that's his name, exited the project due to continued shifts in the production schedule, with Marvel stating, due to continued shifts in our production schedule, Bazam is no longer moving forward as a director of Blade, but will remain an executive producer on the film. We appreciate Bazam's talent and all the work he's done getting Blade to where it is. Tariq thanked Marvel in his own statement. It's been an honor working with the wonderful folks at Marvel. We were able to put together a killer cast and crew, eager to see where the next director takes the film. The Hall reporter claims that while production was set to happen in November, Bo DeMaio, who is the head writer of X-Men 97, the revival of X-Men animated series, and Moon Knight, is now rewriting the script, and there's no word yet if the search for a director will delay Blade from its November 2023 release date. However, there seems to be some drama going on behind the scenes now, allegedly. So this comes from Jeff Schneider. He's a previous trade reporter who now runs his own site. He claims that from his sources that there are more issues going on behind the scenes. Number one, the current draft is 90 pages. Two, features only two and what he described as lackluster action sequences. Mahershala Ali is allegedly frustrated with the project, and four, Kevin Feige is said to be spread too thin. Um, yeah, that is a lot. Omni, I'm gonna start with you. Because I don't know how much you've been following the Blade project since it got announced, but like, what are your thoughts on all of this? Like, because this all just kind of came out on the same
Same
day.
report, yeah. It sucks, man, because it's one of the ones that I'm kind of looking forward to diving into that more supernatural kind of darker side of the Marvel universe with the occult and all that, the vampires they've been sprinkling into each kind of entry here in the last few movies, shows, or whatever has gotten a little bit of a drop for it. But the thing that kind of surprised me about that report that I don't remember reading when I was seeing it go through is where you mentioned it's got lackluster action. That's kind of really important. The Blade. So like,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on there? I don't know, man. It sucks because especially with Mahershala attached, if he's with all this going on, swinging around and the uncertainty, I feel like you probably would be frustrated, especially like you said, this was announced a while ago that, and he's got to stay committed. He's got to be locked into this contract. It's not like he can go shop around or do other things while this thing is spinning its wheels.
Yeah, I forgot about the whole contract thing where like like because he could be stuck now for free pictures. So, for all we know, and we know that this was something that he was the one who pitched to Kevin Feige that he wanted to play Blade and he wanted this movie to happen, and now all of this is going down. So it's definitely scary. So I don't you know we don't talk Marvel that often, but like what have you been following any of this, and what are your thoughts on what's
Until
going on?
this drama came to my attention earlier this week, I didn't even know there was a Blade movie coming. So this was news to me. I'm straining really hard to remember if I've seen the original, the previous Blades, but I might have. But I'm again, because it's not something I've been focusing on. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they lose their director like a week before they were supposed to start shooting?
For Blade?
Yeah.
No, I mean maybe the original version, but like this is the one. Like they were support like they're right now, as far as I know, they're in pre-production, and they were gonna start allegedly in November, and they're gonna because the film comes out next November. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's still very very tight, definitely.
Right. It's, I mean, these things do happen. Like, I explained this to people on my feed when I was talking about it, because they talked about how, there's, like you said, that there's apparently things with the script that somebody, I can't remember who now, is unhappy with. The original product that you, like, when you pitch a script to someone, that original product is practically never what ends up on the final screen. It's maybe 70% what happens, maybe 50%. Sometimes a complete rewrite happens. You sell the script to someone, they take it and go, yeah, it's a great concept, but we're going to take like 3 lines out of here and make the rest of it ourselves. Studios do this all the time. The end product you see on screen has been rewritten several times before they get to that product. So if someone's like, oh, you know what, there's problems with the script, so and so didn't like this part of it and all that stuff, that happens with most projects. So I wouldn't be worried on that part. But
Right.
The Kevin Feige being stretched too thin part, I found that interesting, because like, is there really any other issues right now in Marvel besides this one? Like, I wouldn't say.
Issue wise, I mean, I don't really know other than this one and some.
Well, there's a
things being
CGI, the CGI controversy that came out a couple of months ago that kind of explains why some of the shows and films have looked
Mhm.
in certain ways, because it really
That's more of a PR thing than anything, I would say.
And I also think that just comes down to I don't think that's Kevin Feige being stretched too thin, as opposed to maybe they need more creators on the CGI end, so they're stretched too thin. Maybe now you could say
that's a
that
clear indicator too that maybe they're getting their hands into too many projects at one time.
Sure, but maybe Kevin Feige himself isn't having a problem managing them all, but the bottom of the chain is. So he maybe needs to make some adjustments on how that chain of command works, and he needs to find people that can run the bottom end of the chain of the command a little bit better.
Without having to check in with them every so often, as much as they seem to want to. Let's see.
Well, there was. I mean, we know that one thing that came out of those, reports about the effect was that their tight schedule that Marvel would give them sometimes, because sometimes they do these like reshoots and so on that are sometimes so drastic that it kind of almost changes the film altogether, and it's something it's given on a very short time span. But like, yeah, I mean, I know that in general people have been talking about Phase 4 being kind of like the more disappointing phase for I mean, there's the people who be like, oh my god, it's because it's too female, but and those people we don't care about them. But some people feel like there's something missing with the MCU right now. So but the Blade thing is definitely like it is one of the 2 things we'll talk about that it comes in terms of like shakeups. But not for me. I love Marshall Ali. I think Blade is a very fascinating character. I always prefer that he should have gotten like I think a Disney Plus show rather than a movie, because I think a show could better flesh out that character that we haven't seen on screen in almost. I don't even know when the last Blade movie even came out. Like, was it like 2005, 2004? Like, it was definitely like the last one did come out in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So, but it is. It sounds like it was a very amicable departure between both parties, but at the same time, like it's been 2 years, and the fact that it's gotten to this point already kind of has been a little worried. So, but the thing that did really encourage that got me a little more optimistic was the fact that the guy who's writing X-Men 97 is basically, doing a restart of the script, which I think, you know what, if he's worked well on Moon Knight and on X-Men, I am more optimistic to it because there were also, because apparently we're casting not casting the script, but like just casting production info going on. Apparently, the movie was supposed to take place like in the 1900s. I'm like, Marvel, can we just? I'm getting a little tired of the time period pieces. But I don't know who this is. This is called Andy Reacts. So I don't know what you're talking about. No, Andrew Reacts. There you go. Hope you're doing well, Jordan. Happy birthday to the ghost. But yeah, I think that maybe a restart of the script will be better, and then finding a new director that will be able to work things out. Now, if this means that it will get pushed back from November next year, I mean, if they're not going to start filming this year, and they start, like, let's say they start filming in January, there's no way in hell they're going to have it finished by November, unless it is like one of those very not very CGI heavy movies. It's a very practical movie, kind of streetwise. Maybe that's gonna happen, but I could see this at this point being pushed back till maybe Phase 6, like after Secret Wars and so on. But yeah, that's just one of the Marvel items that we have because yesterday, because Marvel Entertainment was just like, we're not done yet. Armor Wars, and so we did. While this was another product that announced almost 2 years ago, and while we did hear at 223 that the show is definitely happening and that it will take place right after the events of Secret Invasion, Hollywood Reporter broke the news that Don Cheadle's show is now being turned into a movie, according to Hollywood Reporter. Which this is very strange. Marvel Entertainment, like, they wrote their own article based on the Hollywood Reporter's report, which was interesting. But according to Hollywood Reporter, they claimed that the studio was committed in getting the story told the right way, and in that process, they realized that a feature was better suited for the project. Yasir Lester, who was hired as head writer on the show, is now shifting over to write the screenplay, and there's no word if this will be part of Phase 6 or maybe later, as Phase 5 is already slammed up, and Armor Wars was not featured on that slate during San Diego Comic-Con. Omni, I don't know how big of a War Machine fan you are, so I don't know what your thoughts have been on Armor Wars up till now. But what do you think about this shift from TV show to movie? Because this doesn't happen often with the MCU.
It does not, but I think some of the, and I'm wondering too, just like depending on how this has gone, because a lot of some criticisms of some of the shows is like, I feel like this could have been tightened into just a movie and it would have flowed a lot better. Whereas you have some movies, like let's say a Turtles for the example, that gets the opposite criticism. And this is one of those situations where I feel like with, I think I'm fine with it either way, as long as it's got a focused story. But a character that I know myself and a lot of people have been like, hey, he's just kind of been hanging out in the background for a few movies now for a long time. It's just Don Cheadle's Rhodey, So I don't know, like the movie, if it has the story to tell, if it makes sense, if it still comes off of Secret Wars the way it was kind of going to, sure, fine. It's less screen time for Rhodey in the long run, so I don't know. But they also haven't been great at stretching out some of these stories to these multi-episode lengths regardless. So I don't know, man. It's hard to think about which way would be better until I see it, but I'm excited that we're going to be seeing Rhodey, and if we're talking about this Stark tech getting out into the wrong hands and all that kind of stuff, we haven't seen Justin Hammer in too long. I need him in this movie. I need him. I need Sam Rockwell back in the MCU, man.
CG, how about you? How are you feeling about the shift from TV show to movie? Because the last time anything like this happened, it was when the Inhumans movie became a TV show, and we will just not touch that. But like this is very rare that this kind of shift happens.
Yeah, it is. Again, this is another, I don't know if I just never hear Marvel news or what, but it's another one that I didn't really know about till you just explained it to me. it is, like you said, it's a rare thing to happen. I mean, it's not unheard of, but I mean, it's I think because of the reality we live in now, where streaming services are so like big, and you constantly have to keep pushing content onto it. There's this idea that you have to make stuff for streaming, and so these studios are like, okay, we'll put this on streaming, we'll put this in the movie theater, et cetera, and then maybe they get to a point, and they're kind of like, this thing that's on streaming, I think there's some money to get out of this, and they're kind of like, how can we redo this project to get it on the big screen so that instead of making a few $1 million off streaming signups, we make $150 million out of a theater release, you know? And at the end of the day, if you're a studio and you can see something is going to be a big hit, I don't know why you wouldn't move it from streaming to a movie theater nowadays. Like, streaming, the streaming market's kind of tapped out. Everybody's got their service that they're signed up for. Almost nobody is going to sign up to whatever, is it Disney that Marvel's is? Disney Plus, to get a War Machine show extra, right? Like, they probably already have the service and they'll watch it. Very few people are signing up just for that show. But in a movie theater with the right marketing, they can make a couple $100 million profit off of that. Whereas they will make maybe a couple $1 million in new streaming signups. So yeah, I mean, I would do it if I were an exec and I saw something and I'm like, I think there's profit to be made there, you know?
For sure. I think
Yeah,
you made a really good point about that, because, like, sorry to cut you off, Andy. Just like, I think the move to theatrical release shows a little bit of confidence in it. Because, like you were saying, like, you know, they have this obligation to have content churning. You know, we have these episodes that last enough to keep you signed on if you're interested into the next pay period, at least. Right now, most people that are invested in the Marvel streaming stuff are probably already signed up. So any gains they have would be marginal at best, depending on, it's not like, I would say like maybe Daredevil would be like a pull in if somebody's not signed up or something like that. But like for the average MCUer, that's a term.
Is now.
I feel like they're probably already on that train. So you would make your bigger bang if you're confident in the product to slap it in a theater.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was that so I said this. I think I said this before in this multiverse, but I said it definitely on other shows and podcasts and so on, that I have nothing against Don Cheadle. I haven't really connected a lot with his War Machine. I was more I prefer Terrence Howard's take on the character, but you know, we know he's no longer with the MCU and whatnot. But I've always felt like, yeah, there's definitely a lot of unused potential with the Rhodey since Don came in, and that's why I'm like, I want Armor Wars to change my mind and, you know, and show me like what this character is fully capable of. So I agree, you know, yeah, like having him get a movie, it definitely shows more confidence and also signify, you know, amplifies the fact that Marvel, you know, like they're not. This is not gonna be like just Iron Man 4 or anything. Like, this is gonna be his story, and they're gonna tell it on the big screen rather than just, you know, 4, 5, 6 episodes. You know, I think some characters benefit better having 6 episodes as a show, and then some characters benefit having a movie. Where, like, if they couldn't stretch out Armor Wars for 6 episodes, then yeah, do it as a film. You know, I just hope that this isn't something that we end up in 2 years from now going back to being like, oh right, they canceled this. You know, they said it was gonna make a movie just to have something to distract with. Like, 'cause that's the thing,
Right.
you know, like, because sometimes, like, you know, when shifts like this happens, you know, anything could happen in the long run. So, because there's no release date, there's no director yet, and so on. So, and I'm guessing at this point, I wouldn't be shocked if this is also being saved till Phase 6 or something like that. Because I'm like, I don't. But then maybe that's why, like, they might actually retool it where, like, it doesn't really have, like, because yes, even if it's set right after Secret Invasion and the movie doesn't come out until, like, let's say 2024, that's a big, you know, set directly after the events of that show, unless they're gonna, you know, again, they like to jump around in the timeline a lot. So but it was interesting because this broke at like 11 o'clock in the evening, and I'm like, why, like, is this happening? But before we get going, we have a couple super chats we're gonna answer. So first of all, Jennifer, hi, good to see you. And this multiverse and the multiverse, yes. Hey guys, so you know how we're going to be getting Captain Boomerang in season 9 of the Fly? Oh yeah, like Categories, did you hear about that? Like, did you hear that he was apparently on set?
Oh wait, Nick Taraby's back?
Well, that's the question.
Cool.
Is it the same
You
Captain
know-
Boomerang that we saw in Arrow season 3? No, it is actually. So the reason we're laughing is that so Catagraphs, if you go to his website, he has photos from the production of season 9. And what in the name of Christ is happening right now?
We've been hacked.
We've been hacked.
Yes, you have been.
Shame on you, Jordan.
Aren't you supposed to be over on your new channel, Omni Media? Didn't you hear you got traded? I told you to turn in your keys.
No.
Yeah, you have to take over the beanie.
Oh, I was wearing beanies before you freaking started your channel.
But anyway,
I was throwing beanies before you created your channel. I was throwing them.
what I was gonna say was that so if Jennifer, if you go to his website, he has photos of the new Captain Boomerang. It's not gonna be Digger Harkness. It's gonna be Mr. Owen Mercer.
Owen, yeah.
Yeah, played by Richard Harmon. So go, and the costume is amazing, Jennifer. So go check it out after the show. Where's Jordan, Andy? I don't know.
Oh my god!
No, I'm kidding. Congrats on 58k subs, Jordan. There you go. Congrats. We have another super from Jennifer. I'm a very big fan of War Machine. So I'm mixed, but I don't care as long as it does not pull a Hawkeye where it's more about another character than the title character. Well, I mean, Hawkeye. We always knew that it was going to be a passing of the not the baton, I guess, of the bow to Kate Bishop. So, but yeah, I'm but again, there's only one War Machine. So it's not like he has to like try and be like the new Iron Man or anything like that. So, but yeah, I don't think you have to worry too much. But again, we will see if this movie even happens because I mean. We will see. John Lumpkin says, "Am I the only one who knew Hugh Jackman would come back for Ryan Reynolds?" LOL. Well, we will talk about it shortly, John. Jordan, do you have any thoughts? Are you sticking around, or did you just want to come by and say hi?
I wanted to talk about the Wolverine thing at least, and then we're gonna watch the movie. So
you're gonna watch Deadpool 3 already?
No,
that's cool, man.
No.
You never told me you have a time machine.
Wow,
You have some aviation in your
popcorn
cup, don't you?
We're gonna get some popcorn and watch Hocus Pocus 2. So
Practically the same thing.
yes, the same thing as Deadpool 3. There is one thing. Can I pull up? Yes, I can. Oh, I can just touch screen. I saw this. Oh my gosh, John, I'm so happy that I was able to help you through that with my videos. That's really unfortunate. I'm sorry, John. That is. I wouldn't know how that feels, but that can't be easy. But I'm glad that at least I could help in some sort of way. That's wow.
Our condolences.
Yes, that is wow.
But thank you for being here, John. Thank you for your super chats. Appreciate it. And Jennifer asks also, do you remember the Wildcat from Arrow season 3 before Sorrow came out? Yes, sadly, I do remember him. As handsome as he was, that was the cheapest Wildcat I've ever seen. Like I'm like, what in the name of Lord am I seeing here? Like, but yeah, let's move on. Okay, so like enough about the Marvel drama, because now we have some fun Marvel stuff, and maybe that's why like they dropped this so they can be like, now we can let all the drama leak and so on. But Deadpool 3 is on its way. Ladies and gentlemen, Hugh Jackman is coming back as Wolverine. Ryan Reynolds released a video on a couple of days ago, breaking the entire internet essentially, where he was trying to figure out what to do with Deadpool 3. Like he'd been like searching deep inside, and he came up with nothing. So he just turns around and goes, "Hugh, you want to be Wolverine one more time?" And Hugh just casually beefed up, walked up the stairs and goes, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And September 6th, 2024, the duo everyone's been waiting to see on screen, and no, we were gonna pretend that Origins Wolverine never happened. It's finally coming to fruition. Omni, how
I hope they reference that movie.
oh, break into your thoughts.
Dude, I've been saying like after Logan, I'm pretty sure he was done. But the only things that he might come back for was one he talked about with Kevin Feige. If he was ever able to be part of the Avengers, he would be down for that. And I think the other thing would be Ryan, because I just think Ryan's got that magic with those two, man. Their little spat, friendship, rivalry, whatever you want to call it. I think he wouldn't be able to live it down if Ryan called him up and was like, "Hey, want to do this thing?" And he said no. I don't think he'd ever hear the end of it. So yeah, I was like, if this is going to happen, it's Ryan's magic that is going to pull him back in. I don't think he's going to stick around or anything by any stretch of the imagination, but it'll be a fun outing, to say the least. Now, which Wolverine or what Wolverine he's going to be is going to be a big old question mark.
Which one would you want if you could decide which Wolverine he should play? Where would you go?
Oh God, make it the animated one. Since they're already tying in, what they said. Where was it? Where's my brain going? That the universe in Multiverse of Madness is where 97 leads to.
Okay.
So we could visit that Wolverine or one we've never met. I think it might get a little messy when you get to the Fox first, because their timelines are already spaghetti noodles.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Categories again. I said, I love that, like, because I never get to talk to Marvel, talk about Marvel with him. So are you a fan of this? Are you excited to see this?
Yes. I was asleep when the news broke, so I woke up and the news had already come and kind of flowed out of the immediate system. So I didn't see it immediately. I actually found out logging onto YouTube and seeing like 3 reaction videos in my timeline. I'm like, what? What happened? And so I had to click on one of them, and that's how I found out. And I was like, what? Because I can only imagine being on Twitter when it actually broke. Like, everyone's brain probably just turned to mush for like a minute. I'll be honest, I did not think it would happen. I know Ryan and Hugh have a great relationship, but I think I always chalk it up to like Hugh gives Ryan permission to take jabs at him and his character. I always thought it was kind of more that thing, you know, a buddy who's like, yeah, go ahead, I don't care. I never thought Hugh would be like, okay, I'll come back for you. You know, so seeing it, I was quite surprised. I'm excited, you know. Plus, also, assuming nothing changes, it should film here. So hopefully, I'll get to see them both on set together. You know.
Oh, listen. I mean, if Marvel does not listen, because I don't know if Kevin Feige knows about the Wrath of Canada grabs. So if he's not smart and doesn't put out a photo of them together in costume, and I mean, listen, if you're the one who breaks it, you know that your Twitter timeline is not going to shut up until the movie comes out.
You would think so, but we got shots of Cable before they posted a promo photo of that, and only got mediocre attention. And I mean, granted, Cable and Hugh Jackman are, you know, in different leagues, but I kind of think movie spoilers don't have that same, like, at least from our end, don't have that same oomph as TV shows. And I think it's because the movie's going to be another year down the road past the time they film, whereas TV shows, it's a couple of months. It's kind of already in people's eye line. So for me, movie spoilers generally don't have that wow factor that I get from TV show spoilers, just because I think people aren't thinking in the movie yet, you know? But hopefully.
Any theories on which Wolverine he might be playing?
I'm not smart enough to have an idea on that. I will leave that to people that have seen these things.
Well, I will let the party crasher chime in. It's been a couple of days now. We talked about it a little bit, you and I off air. What is your current take on that? And which Wolverine do you think he will be, or which one do you think he should be playing?
Well, I think which Wolverine, that's the question. Like, because they've already said Logan, that film, that timeline is not being touched, which makes sense. And I think it might be the one we saw at the end of Days of Future Past, because that's where the timeline essentially got fixed. And Xavier says, "Welcome back." Yeah, fixed, because the timeline of those movies are all over the place.
Yeah, because like what, in like a week,
Yeah,
Xavier kills them all or something.
yeah, essentially, like in that timeline, Logan, yes, he kills everybody pretty much. But I think it's the one after Days of Future Past where I think we're going to see other cameos of other Fox cast. I think in this, I don't. That's where I'm heading, because I don't know what other version they could pull from, unless they're going to go the route of Days of Future Past never happened in this timeline. I don't know, because I feel like they might just, because I mean, Deadpool hasn't really established what timeline they're actually in. Like, it's all been gags and everything, and he can reference everything because he's Deadpool, but they've never established what timeline Deadpool's in anyways. But in terms of the news, I think this is like the biggest piece of comic book news in years. I think this would be on the same level if they would have actually announced Toby and Andrew in No Way Home, but they didn't. But if they would have, it would have been on the same level of everybody losing their minds. So I think this is smart, because I feel like this is literally a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. It's Deadpool 3, but it's technically a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. And they want to get ahead of it now because he's in a lot of the film, and they want to get everyone excited. And I've been hearing people online talking about, well, how big is this movie going to be? I think it's easily going to make over $1 billion, no question. In terms of, if it's a good movie, it's going to earn a lot of money. And now, is he going to wear an actual suit from the comic?
I will drag his ass if he doesn't put it on this one. We put up with 17 years of using Wolverine, which was amazing, but some of those films were horrible. Like,
here's my prediction: the video that Ryan made initially, he was wearing like the black version, essentially, of the Deadpool suit. And
you mean the X-Force suit?
Yeah, essentially, yeah, that's what he was doing. I think they might go the route of where Wolverine is wearing the black and gray suit from X-Force. I feel like they may go that route, but people are also saying they could do like a montage thing where like Deadpool's like, you got to wear like a costume. And then that's where we can see some like classic suits for a second, which would be hilarious. But I feel like they might go the route of a version of Days of Future Past in the future where you see some yellow and some blue, but it's not exactly. But I feel like it's going to be more comic book because of the fact that it's in a Deadpool movie. Because this is the only time we will actually see it. Because, I mean, unless he pops up in Secret Wars in a couple more years, but that's a big if, you know. But this is insane. It's insane that it's actually happening, because at the end of Deadpool 2, he even hinted at it when he popped back up in the Origins and killed, like, what was it? Weapon 11 or something, or whatever. Yeah, his version of Deadpool in that movie, mouth sewn shut. He references that he's going to come back for him. So he even references that he's going to eventually get Wolverine. So he might pull Wolverine from the Origins timeline. I don't know.
Don't put that into the universe.
I was
please.
thinking that when you started going on your tangent, I was like, oh god, what if they did the other thing?
They might go that route, because he might because they could say that he pulls him from the bad timeline and tries to fix it or something. I don't know. But it's awesome.
Hilarious.
It's awesome.
So one thing I was gonna touch on that you were talking about the possible box office.
Yeah.
I think $1 billion is possible if it gets a favorable rating. Oh, yeah. But if it doesn't, they can't make $1 billion.
Oh, yeah. If this movie is okay, it would be very disappointing for a lot of people.
I would argue.
No, I mean box office rating. Box office rating.
Oh.
I would agree with you if Dominion didn't just cross that line.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, everyone stopped talking about that movie, and it still broke $1 billion. Like, literally, like, it's still in theaters? I had no idea.
Yeah. I think what it all depends on, because obviously, yes, this Hugh being in the movie is the biggest aspect, but the thing is, we haven't even gotten like the rest of the cast, and we haven't even seen any of the thing is like if they mark like, and here's the thing, because this is sometimes something Marvel does okay with, sometimes they do great with, and I hope it's more the latter than the former. If they market the hell out of it in the best way possible, and even look at what when the original Deadpool movies were coming out, and look at what they were kind of doing, I think they could easily get up to $1 billion, especially like, again, because again, I don't, as far as like other character, other X-Men characters. So I think this will be more so than these two. Like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Colossus perhaps or whatever. But like, I don't expect a lot of the original cast to show back. I think this will be like the Deadpool movie that everyone always wanted, because Hugh and Ryan. But yeah, I mean, this I always hoped, but then after Logan, I'm like, well, I guess, I mean, maybe they could just, maybe he will go meet the new Wolverine in the MCU whenever they cast him. And that's because I don't think, I find it very hard to believe that Hugh would actually sign on to be the Earth 616 version and then start playing Hugh, Wolverine in a bunch of other movies. I think this is really like a special occasion, and I think that will be it.
Well, we did
But
get that She-Hulk reference.
yeah, that's the thing. But again, I think they're gonna go younger with that, whoever that Wolverine is, someone that they can obviously log into a contract for multiple years and whatnot. Again, but listen, if you was just feeling bored these days, like, who knows? I think he would rather sign on to like appear in various movies. I don't know if he would sign on to do like a new like Wolverine trilogy or something like that. But again, I mean, this is exciting. This is awesome, because I was a little disappointed with Deadpool 2. It was good, but it wasn't as good as the first one. So
Right.
the fact that they're going this out, and because I know like before, at least before the pandemic struck, like like one of the plans they had talked about was they were going to do something with X-Force in the third one. I don't know anything of what team members they're going to have. Anything. All I knew was that they were trying to look at that team after what kind of the little setup they did in the second one. But
weren't they going to make that a separate movie though, or was that
Yeah.
it kept going back and forth. Like sometimes first they kept considering as a separate one, but then they wanted to merge it with Deadpool because of Deadpool's success. They wanted to capitalize on that, because X-Force isn't as well known. So like having Deadpool and the X-Force would, I think that was but this was before Disney bought them, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember, because these were conversations I had years ago, and and then I'm getting older, so I don't remember as well as I did. But I think this is fun. I think this is probably one of the most exciting things that come out of Marvel in a while, like in terms of like announcements. Like I feel like honestly, like listen, like no disrespect to what they did at the Comic-Con and D23, but this beats all of that. Because of the video they made, just because of the tone of it all, and just the fact that like we would want to see this for a very long time. Like I don't know who said it here, but like in terms of like the biggest comic book, and I'm like I can't think of anything bigger. Like this is how I felt, at least when Batman vs Superman was announced. And then like yes, had Andrew and Toby been announced, I think this would have gotten the same type of hype. But it's like we're so used to getting so many announced, but like only like a handful of them gets to stand out like this. So I'm excited to see like what the hell they're gonna be doing. I would probably prefer if it was maybe like a Wolverine from another universe, not so much the one like I think like just let the Fox movies just stay where they are. At this point, because again, after Dark Phoenix, I was like, okay, listen, I'm out. I cannot do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore. Like if you all had seen me physically cringe in the theater, and like some my friends who are not comic book fans, they're like, "And it's not that bad, is it?" Like you don't know the half of it. Like because I'm the one that they will always like poke and be like, "Hey, what does that mean? What's that Easter egg? Hey, is that a cameo? Is that a nod or something?" And I'll be like, "I'm trying to watch the movie. I will give you the trivia afterwards." But yeah, I cannot wait to see them just going completely crazy with this. And like I said, if Hugh Jackman, if you're watching, if you don't put your fucking ass into any type of costume, I will publicly drag you. Because again, we followed you and supported you, your Wolverine for 17 years, even during the bad ones. You had one good Wolverine movie. The Wolverine was not even that good either. So you owe us that. And also after that, they brought up the costume like on the plane. I'm like, listen, we know it's out there. We know it can be made, and we know it can be made to look cool. So Hugh just bulk up like you already are. Like apparently he posted on Instagram that he's already working out. So I'm like, maybe they're actually getting closer to filming it sooner than I realized.
I wouldn't be surprised if they start shooting early next year.
Yeah, I think definitely some. I would say by Mars it will be like it's gonna be filming somewhere, and if it's in Vancouver, hang on, I don't care even what they break on the Flash series finale set. If they are in costume, I will listen. I will pay your Uber to be on that set to get those photos of them in suit if that's what's happening.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't.
if they're out and about, and there's a sniff that like Hugh is going to be out there in like the use your words, costume. Yeah, I'm probably dropping 99% of any other projects that I could be working on that day. You know.
Even
Yeah.
if Flash has all the villains from the past back in the finale and various fight all of them at once.
Only thing that could top it. Only thing that could top it is if Goldface is there.
No, only Goldface. Goldface is playing every villain from the past again.
Yeah, even if fucking Tyler Hoechlin is on the set of The Flash, I don't care if Hugh Jackman is running around in yellow spandex.
I don't care if Henry Cavill's on the set of Superman on the Flash. You're gonna be on the Wolverine Deadpool.
Yeah, exactly. Like if he's running out in yellow spandex, you're getting me that kink material. Just saying. Before Jordan leaves, we have a question from Jennifer. I was looking through Chainsaw's old podcast on the Arrow season 3 review, and he said, "Let's hope Arrow season 4 is even better." Awkward. Delete that footage.
There's that big old meme of this. It didn't age particularly well.
I've realized over the years. I've
Oh, you mean this?
Obviously, this particular comment didn't age too well.
I have said too many really stupid things because, like, that's the issue being on YouTube for way too long. I just I said a lot of shit, and
Hey, at the time, I think most people probably looked at him like, well, it's going to get better. Obviously, I mean, this is just an off year.
Can't go the route of making Arrow season 4 the Olicity season and listening to Tumblr. There's no way they could do it.
Obviously not. Why would they?
Why would
I mean,
there's no way.
What psychopath gets his ideas from Tumblr? No one has a follow-up.
I'm not.
Because that is the follow-up. Because you can't believe that they actually read Tumblr. That's a good story.
Yeah, I was active on Tumblr at that time, and I used to follow Guggenheim because hey, he's the showrunner of Arrow, and I would see the stuff he liked and reposted. I'm like, is this guy half nuts? Like, I was worried, but I didn't think it would get that bad. Here's the thing: I'm gonna be like full up honest. If I had to rewatch Arrow season 4, I think I could. Is it the worst season of the show? Yeah, but I still think it's better than a lot of other shows' mediocre seasons. So that's my take on it.
I agree with you.
I gotta bring this up. I'm sorry, but I don't think Armor Wars and Deadpool 3. No offense, but
I'm glad you're excited for your project, but
yeah, and I know you asked us in the chat if we talked about it's the second topic of so you can watch in the replay. But Jordan, get the fuck out, spend some time with your wife, and happy birthday to her, and enjoy.
Happy birthday, honey.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday from all of us to you.
Birthday.
And here's a dog sleeping.
Aww.
Oh, doggo doing doggo things.
Yes, literally.
Do you want to go for a walk?
She looks excited when
But Jordan, you and I, we will see each other next week here. You watch me as I turn into a silver fox because I turn 29 next week. So my life is almost over. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it really
Silver
is.
Fox.
You know.
You have anything to say about a silver fox? Anything? Any words on my birthday coming up?
The big 3-0.
I'm turning fucking 30.
You kids.
It's not that bad.
Oh, hush.
Anyway, have a good Friday night. We will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
You got to kick me out, by the way. Bye.
Oh, I can kick you out? I love that. I'm kidding.
If only to have a slam door sound.
Jordan, you need to. You need to leave. Like, just close your browser or something. I can only kick you from like the stream. I can't kick you out of the room. He's just not glaring at us. Okay, we'll
Just
move
refusing
on.
to go.
Yeah. So, what is next on the agenda? Just so that I don't lose track. Is it? Oh Christ! Is it? It's okay. It's that time. Okay.
Oh, the good part of the show.
Oh, this.
The fun stuff. We get to
I
talk
mean,
about legal stuff.
I mean, this. I'm preparing myself.
Start putting your lawyer suits, everybody.
This is me in my mind right now. Okay, let's do this. So, our good buddy David Zaslav is he is doing some stuff at that company that we need to discuss. So the Wrap
Oh my God.
reported today.
Before you get into this for a second, can I just bring up that earlier this week, Warner Brothers put out a tweet about the Superman and Lois Season 2 DVD release. And they just titled it as Superman.
Mm-hmm. Twitter was upset.
I made a tweet somewhere. I can't remember where it was, or it might have been on a different platform. And someone's like, "Can you believe this?" I'm like, "Look, WB's got running out of money. They couldn't afford the and Lois."
Right, tax write down.
Yep.
Okay, so because again, there's a lot of legal jargon here, so I'm just gonna read and try and summarize as much as I can. And this is what the Wrap is saying, just for legal protection reasons. Like, this is what they're claiming, this is what they're hearing, and so nothing we either of us are saying. Warner Brothers cooked HBO Max subscriber numbers, misled shareholders in Discovery merger lawsuit claims. Warner Brothers cooked its HBO Max subscriber numbers by as many as 10 million and misled shareholders in other ways that violate the Securities Act to complete its merger with Discovery, according to a class action lawsuit that claims it could potentially represent hundreds of thousands of plaintiffs. The lawsuit was filed last Friday in New York on behalf of the Collinsville Police Pension Board, an Illinois-based shareholder of Warner Brothers Discovery stock, which it accepted in trade for its pre-merger Class C common Discovery shares. At the time of the merger, Discovery shares were valued at $24.78. As of Tuesday, Warner Bros. Discovery shares were trading just above 11. I'm guessing this is billions or billions because they're only writing it as like it was like $11.
It's per share.
Per share.
So one share was $24.78. Now it's $11.
The lawsuit names Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Zaslav and CFO Gunnar Goldenfels as defendants. Yeah, Warner Bros. Discovery did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The lawsuit says that among several other adverse information being kept hidden, the merging companies overstated the subscriber base for HBO Max. Warner Media was improvidently concentrating its investments in streaming and ignoring its other business lines, and overstated the number of subscribers to HBO Max by as many as 10 million subscribers, by including its subscribers, AT&T customers who had received bundled access to HBO Max but had not signed on to the service. More than 700 million shares of Warner Bros. Discovery were issued to Discovery comment and preferred shareholders pursuant to the merger. Oh my God, I hate reading trade articles. The lawsuit states meaning hundreds of thousands of people could potentially join the federal security class action filed in New York Federal District Court. And then they just kept basically just repeating themselves over and over again. Also, David Zaslav wants everyone to know that the company is not for sale. We have the strongest hand in the industry. We have everything we need to be successful to be the biggest entertainment media company in the world. Okay, guys, this is bad. This is bad.
I sorry to cut in again.
Go for it.
I first heard about this because someone DM'd me the link to it, and I looked at it and I'm like, well, this can't be real. And then I read into it, and I'm like, oh no. Like, it got worse with each sentence. They're in real trouble with this. Like, there's two ways this goes, and neither of them is good for this company. One is they're guilty, and they have to pay back who knows how many millions, maybe billions of dollars. I don't know how those fines work. The other is they get it thrown out, but the cloud of this hangs over that company for 5+ years. And investors are always going to be skeptical of anything Warner Brothers says. And that's going to
already the good faith they're losing with creatives, the people making content, and all that stuff here
Yeah,
lately, because their stock was hurt well
at the end
before
of
this
the
came out.
day, you can make fans mad at you. You can even to some degree make your talent mad at you. But stockholders, you don't want mad at you because that's your money. That is where you get the money to make your things. And they are really in the hole, whichever situation lands out. If they are guilty and have to pay out, they're in the hole. If they somehow get this thrown out, they're in the hole PR wise. People will look at that and just be like, I don't know if I should invest in Warner Brothers because there's some questions about how their money is. Not to mention the fact their stock has lost over 50% since the merger.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, they were already rough before this broke.
Yes.
What are your well, Omni? What are your additional thoughts on this?
Just the audacity. I mean, I don't. Again, the whole like report about it being groomed to be sold. That was the whole point of the purchase. Seemed a little off to me. Not impossible, but with the way Warner was before they bought it and the way they've been handling it, I was like, I don't know how attractive this looks. I don't know if you're doing a good job if that's your goal to make it attractive for purchase. So I don't know. That whole thing, like, I get that he's talking about it, but like he's talking like he's got this shining beacon of product here that he's just constantly pulling his pants down on and just kind of wiping his ass with it.
When I saw this, like I kind of just like sunk in my seat, and I'm like, we really can catch a break with this company. Like, this is the darkest timeline for Warner Brothers in 2022. Like, I just like, listen, excited for Black Adam, but like other than that, like, we don't have anything else to look forward to from this studio for the rest of the year. And I'm like, every week there is something going on with the studio where like sometimes it's about some of their actors, sometimes it's about their CEO, and I'm just I don't know what's like there. I don't think there's a way out of this for them. Like they're gonna. I don't know like if they're gonna have to like. I don't think you can like revert a merge or anything like that. But it's like, yeah, like you guys were saying, who is gonna want to invest in this company as a shareholder at this point? Like, how are we like this does mean that essentially in terms of content wise, we're not gonna. We're gonna get less things because they can't afford to make anything these days. Like the reason we even pushed Shazam and other films back to 2023 is because they couldn't afford to put out more than 2 films for the rest of 2022. So I'm just, and I don't know who is more guilty here. Like if it's the previous regime with Warner Media, or if it's all of Warner Bros. Discovery. If
they're both guilty because it said even in the article that Discovery was aware of the numbers. So both parties wanted this merger to happen, and they had to find a way to justify it on both of their ends. And they're like, let's just lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And WB, man, like from the AT&T takeover, from that shift to now this, it's just like they're not catching a break, man. It's been like almost 8-10 years now of not having a sturdy ship and just putting patches on the holes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid of go into 2023 and being like I mean, because at what point do we hit rock bottom with the studio? Like at what point is this like, okay, this is as worse as it can get. It can't get any worse than that. But like, you feel at this point, like, should we be questioning what other skeletons they have in their closet? Because like there's because at least when AT&T and Warner Bros. Happened, like I mean, yes, there were people who got let go of or whatever and so on, but there wasn't this much drama and fallout from it. But with this, I'm like, all things are going wrong, and I'm like, again, I just like I feel there has to be an ultimate consequence of this that will forever change whatever Warner Bros. Do. Like I don't even Warner Bros. Even exist whenever this lawsuit is over. Because we will go to. like whenever the trial is over and so on, like will there even be a studio at that point? So for everyone who loves their Arrowverse shows or HBO Max content and so on, enjoy while you can, because God knows what can happen in the next 3 years. But anything else you guys want to say about this, or I don't know, any other topics we talked about?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think Warner Brothers will still exist in some way, shape, or form. The scope of it, because it's always been a superpower in the industry for as long as I can remember, might be scaled down. We might see them move into like the second tier of studios. Or the other thing that we've seen in the news and you touched on earlier was they get bought out by somebody else, by an NBC, and they merge into that, and we see eventually what's NBC's NBC Universal.
Yeah.
So NBC Universal Warner Brothers, like, we see something like that title.
Warner Brothers Universal.
I think they would keep the NBC title at the front because that's the owner property. But at the end of the day, I think Warner Brothers is still a brand name that carries nostalgic value. So I don't think anyone buying it's just going to scrap the name. I think they want to keep the Warner Brothers name there, even though there's question marks around it from the business end of it. Because us as the buyers know Warner Brothers as a brand we can trust. We're like, that's that place that brought us that movie we really like, So I think that brand is always going to stick around. It just might hop owners a couple of times before it settles somewhere. Now, the other question is, does DC go with Warner Brothers, or do they sell DC off separately from Warner Brothers? Because DC was originally bought out by Warner Brothers. They're a asset of an asset right now,
That would depend on what gets sold and how. Because if they sell WB as a bulk house, I would imagine that everything under that umbrella would go, or they could potentially just sell off individual assets. Whatever they do.
I think before all of I think before all of this came out this week, I think their short long-term plan was take the pieces they want from Warner Brothers and sell everything else. And I do believe DC is one of those things they wanted to sell off. It's been pretty clear they have limited interest in it. I think there's things in Warner Brothers they wanted, including the brand name, but they didn't want everything, and they were just going to cut it up, take the pieces they want, and sell off the scraps. And I believe DC was going to be one of those scraps. But now they might just sell off Warner Brothers as a whole because it's tainted under their brand name,
Yeah, I think at this point, like, if anything, like the studio will cease to exist and all these major IPs and so will be sold out. Like basically it will be like an auction, like highest bidder for like, who wants the Harry Potter IPs, who wants to
That's not something that hasn't happened before. That's something that there's been precedents for these things.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I feel like we're in the timeline right now where like things that has never happened before, it does happen more. It's not going to start to happen. Where like our jaws are just going to be dropped on the floor every time we're on Twitter now, saying like this is happening. I feel like with this studio, with the way things have been going, I wouldn't be surprised if like maybe Disney gets Harry Potter, Looney Tunes goes to NBC, or Sony gets that, or whatever. Again, I feel like because this is bad. Like when I just saw the title, I'm like, oh Christ, what have they done now? And like just reading that over and over and over and over again, I'm just like, how? Why?
What's even worse to think about? This doesn't get resolved in the next month. Like this is going to be a year or two process that's going to be hanging over everything. They might not be able to sell for a couple of years because of all of this. So even if there was that NBC Universal deal in the back corner being considered, they might not be able to sell it to them until all the legal troubles are out of the way. So, question mark?
This will be the next trial to get social media just following it every day, with memes and TikToks, and then it will get its own Lifetime movie. Stephen Amell will play David Zaslav somehow.
I can see that.
Yeah, like, it's believable. I don't know, but
an axe, and he's perfectly fine.
or maybe they will do like a prequel movie of David Zaslav in like his younger age, and like before he took over Warner Brothers, and he just happened to look like Stephen Amell. I don't know.
Now, on this movie, will there be a tie-in to the Ezra Miller drama in the movie? Or does that get its own movie?
I think that will get. I mean that because supposedly Ezra will be. I'm not gonna get too much into the Ezra thing, but assuming Ezra is going to trial soon too for one of the charges.
Oh yeah, so that was brought up on my chat the other day. Someone asked me what was going on with that. They're like, "Hey, wasn't he supposed to go to trial soon?" So I went and Googled it. His hearing's been moved back now to mid-October. So yeah, you have to wait another 3 weeks to find out.
The timeline.
Yeah.
They did say they wouldn't catch him. He's the first.
Oh. Did you guys get it both out of your system, or any more thing else you want? Any more digs
Speaking
at
about
it?
the movie thing, though, I think you can incorporate the Ezra stuff in like the background of every scene. Like if there's a TV screen on, it's just a news report, and it's just that's where the story is unfolding in the background throughout the movie.
Yeah, I read. I think I read an article the other day. Maybe it's the same one that you read, kind of grabbed that because of the charge, Ezra could potentially face up to 26 years in jail.
Yeah, I read that like on my stream, and I broke it down, and I'm kind of like, that's one of those things where it's in the law, so that the worst case scenario of something like that, they can give them up to 26 years. But when I looked at everything he is accused of in that thing, I'm like, I mean, first of all, he's a celebrity, so they live in a different planet. But even as a Joe Average person, I think Joe Average person might be looking at 2 years for that. Like 2 years, serve half of your sentence and you get out type thing.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario. That's my worst case scenario, by the way. That's not even that's not the best case. That's worst case scenario. Best case scenario is he probably does community service. Because he literally stole some alcohol. That's what he's charged with there. Now the Hawaii stuff, I don't know. Hawaii,
we're not even gonna get into that. So we're gonna move into Q&A. So guys, if you have questions for us, you could ask about anything DC, Marvel, heck, trials with some Archie comment. Why not? Like to go into we are endless multiverse, so just go for it. I'm gonna go through the chat a little bit and see what people been saying. Again, everyone, thank you for tuning in tonight.
I'll be right back, by the way.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see. Robinson Cruz says, truthfully, I'm not happy with Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine, and I can understand it. I know Logan was very, very monumental and very instrumental to the end of that franchise, and I feel, I mean, as long as you don't touch that movie, I think most people, I think a lot of naysayers will come around because I think this will be fun in the end. Let's see. Let's see, what else do we have? This you already answered that. Let's see.
You did miss 2 super chats from Scott, by the way.
Okay, let's do those. Hey, Skyward, thank you so much for your Black Adam setting a big things for the DCU ? You have to watch the movie.
I mean, well, yeah. First of all, you have to watch the movie, but second of all, I mean, even if it does set it up, does it get off the ground the way that DC is right now?
Yeah, I mean, maybe The Rock needs to save Warner Brothers. Let's see. Yes, thank you so much. Each of you, favorite Star Wars heroes?
Jar Jar Binks? No. I actually can't say I really have one that stands out. I mean, I'd probably go to the default answers of like Luke, like it's the ones you're most familiar with, Luke, Han Solo, stuff like that.
For me, I don't know if I have a favorite hero. I think the one I maybe like am drawn most to is probably Poe. Because it's cool to have a Star Wars character that looks like you. What about you, Omni? Like if that mask wasn't obvious enough.
Darth Revan. He's both sides of the coin. The greatest Jedi Knight, greatest Sith. I love it. Anyway, if we're talking just the Lucasfilm stuff, not expanded, he is canon now. One of the only things that I got out of the sequel trilogy was they canonized that. But if I had to pick anybody we've seen, probably would be Obi-Wan or Anakin, man, maybe. It's tough. I would still say Anakin in the end. He did bring balance.
Yeah. Jar Jar Binks. Wow, I would never have thought CG would ever go to that controversial corner.
You didn't think I would bring up controversy?
But Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks is Jar Jar Binks. Like, we just don't like
the greatest hero of all time.
Hey, I will say I don't like what they did with him in the current game. It's so cruel.
Misa can't believe it either.
Wow. Goldfish Season 9 Dialects the Metal. Yeah, there you go. That's the title of Season 9. Here's something from Triple X, because this did come out earlier this week. Harrison Ford was apparently rumored. I think they were eyeing him as the new Thunderbolt Ross, because sadly that actor who played him, he's passed away. But I don't. Marvel is so far not to clarify if they're going to recast him or even have him in the film. But would you guys like to see Harrison Ford as the new Thunderbolt Ross?
Harrison Ford's a name that will pull some people from certain demos in, but I think he's actually legitimately, sincerely past his prime for acting. I like to be proven wrong, but he's kind of you just now put him in a movie because he's Harrison Ford and the name value,
Ollie, what about you?
I don't know. I'm always mixed about recasting characters that we've seen a lot. Like the Terrence Howard, we had one movie, so it wasn't that much of a drastic change to get used to. But we've seen General Ross pop up a lot, so I don't know. It'd be weird. I think he's at this point with his dynamic in the characters. I would like to see them maybe like just have another character take over his slot rather than recast him. Kind of similarly with what they're doing with Black Panther.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is when it comes to Thunderbolt Ross is that I get it, because I know a lot of people want to see the the Red Hulk thing and so on. At this point,
that'd be the only reason.
Yeah, and maybe what's better, because I feel like this one that we've been following for all these years, I don't know if that would even really make a lot of sense. I feel that would be such a big departure from the way we've seen him in the MCU. But because we're in the multiverse saga, why don't we just find because this can solve two issues at the same time. You get a variant then who in that universe did become Red Hulk, and that way you can have a new actor, and you don't have he doesn't have to necessarily replace the one we saw in Order 616. So we have a super from Scott Evers again, says, could World Between Worlds erase sequel trilogy? One of you, because I am not.
Could it? Yes. Will they use that ever? No. I don't think we are going to live in a timeline where they're going to accept any blame on themselves for anything that came out of that. And there's things I like about the sequel trilogy. I don't completely hate it or anything like that, but it definitely wasn't my fun ride. But I know a lot of people were like, well, they could do all this to maybe erase it or retcon it or delete it, but I don't see that being in our future. Could it? Yes, they can change time with World Between Worlds. We've seen it happen in Rebels, but they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
Because I'm not familiar with it. What is World Between Worlds? Is it like a storyline?
It's a Basically like a part of reality in the Force that connects every point in time, and from there you can basically watch, view, or influence events from anywhere in the timeline. So they can change outcomes or change events if they wanted to. So it's like this realm that just it
Almost
like
like almost like the Speed Force, almost in a way.
kind of, yeah. That's a good way. That's a pretty strong way to explain it, actually.
Yeah, like and I'm not trying to be punny, but like it kind of like reminds me a lot about like the way I read about the Speed Force in like not just on the Flash TV show, but like in Common Zone in general. Where, like it has all these multiple functions with time. So, I mean, for me, I personally, because again, the sequel trilogy is kind of like where I got more into Star Wars. I had seen the trilogy right before the new one came out, but like I felt a little more connected to the new one because maybe because I just different generation, different time and so on. Like, I can understand some issues people have with it, but I think some issues that people are having with it is maybe a little bit extreme. Because I don't think the sequel trilogy was that bad. I think Rise of Sky, for the Force Awakens, I think that like it was a solid start. I really like the Last Jedi. That's like my favorite out of the three. But Rise of Skywalker, I can definitely see where like yeah they dipped. It didn't go as well, which is why I feel like they're doing so much better now with TV. Like Star Wars really has a future in TV. Yes, of course, at some point there will be movies, but like they're really getting. I think fleshing out the universe with TV shows that can have multiple hours is a good thing for them.
I think we're in a
And
place where Star Wars has evolved to be more served on the TV side of things, so you can just tell those stories a little bit longer. But I like Kata said in there, no one's going to be really erasing anything. I don't think Disney's a company to do anything that would throw shade on themselves, because that would be basically an admission that they think that they didn't believe in their product if they side with the people that didn't like it.
I mean, they're about to make Deadpool 3. That film is, I mean, like, if they're going to, I mean, if Disney starts fighting them on the script about, like, you can't be offensive to this, you can't reference this studio, this actor, this network, and so on, then, they're in trouble.
But that's the thing. Like, they'll stand behind that, though. They're still putting that out into the world. This would be like if they released Deadpool 3 and then down the line they were like, we didn't make that movie.
That's fair. Let me see what else.
Yeah, I think we'll see like what Dave Filoni and them did for like the prequel trilogy, where we'll see these shows and these things that come out after the fact kind of smooth out the rougher edges of that rather than deleting it. They're gonna put some makeup over it over time to make it a little more general consumable in the long term, like they did kind of for the prequels, is what I think is going to be happening with it. It's more like band-aiding it up, which is what Clone Wars and Rebels did for the prequels, I'd say.
CG, how much are you into Star Wars?
I would call myself more than a casual fan, but I have not seen anywhere near all of the content out there. I've seen all the movies except for the solo movie. And I have obviously seen most of the new TV shows, but any of the older stuff or animated stuff, no.
Let's see. Scott Evers asks, do you think Mandoverse is still set long before sequel trilogy that they can still do some cool stuff with Luke and Ahsoka and teaming up maybe? I've seen the whole Mandoverse being thrown around. I'm like, guys, you all realize it's all the one same universe.
Well, a lot of people call it the Filoni-verse.
Oh,
but I know what they mean. I mean, it's just like the pocket that Filoni himself is overseeing.
I just love that everything now has to have a verse.
Yeah, it's still Star Wars. It's still the same place.
That's what I think of it as the Star Wars verse.
But yeah, it's definitely done nothing to separate itself. If anything, it's done these small things to make sure that it's eventually leading to that. Like they're not, like I said, they're not going to run away from it. They're going to try to make it more appealing in the long run. and fix the rocky, unplanned story that it was retroactively. But yeah, it's fine, and there's plenty of time there between where we have Mando and where we end up in the Last Jedi for Luke's story to unfold. We just got a book about his journey running around trying to find Exegol with Lando, so we got him tracking down what's his name? Ochi, the assassin that killed Rey's parents, and all that, and their little scuffle with him and the dagger and all that junk. And it got an explanation as for why Anakin's not around at the time. Yeah, so they're playing around with it. They're expanding on Luke and their other material to try again to make it more consumable.
Well, there's I don't know if how many of our viewers are a fan of this, but you know, another verse that is coming back, fulfilling a prophecy finally after all these years. You know, 6 years of the movie, Community movie is coming to Peacock. I'm super stoked. I'm glad it's finally happening. It's been a long wait. Are either of you Community fans?
I've never seen it.
I loved it when it was on NBC. I tried it when it moved to Yahoo, and it was okay, but I never followed through with watching the rest of it on Yahoo. Here's my issue, though. I think its time has passed. I think it's been too long. I love the show. I love the characters, but I don't know if this long past it's going to hit the same, you know?
I think depending on how they do it, because I feel like, again, like the community, that fandom, it has always been very loyal.
Before you get too far in, can I ask you a question? Have you seen it all? Like the last season? Yeah?
Yeah, season 6 was all right. The first half of the season was rough, I think, but the second half it got better. But I was like, yeah, if they ever do something again with Community, it would just do it as a movie and then kind of wrap up that franchise.
Right. I know. Obviously, for the longest time, there was always the selling pitch of 6 seasons in a movie. Everybody, that was their entire battle cry for like the last 3 years of the show. Did they leave it in a way at the end of season 6 where you're like, this is a happy ending that I can accept as the ending, or did they leave it in a way where they're like, we need to wrap this up?
I felt it was a little bit of both, because like I actually rewatched season 6 only a few months ago, and I kept thinking, because again, I think because they're constantly being asked in interviews like if there's going to be a movie, and there was one point where I'm like, I feel like, again, like they gave you a lot of ideas of what season 7 or what a Community movie could have been, like, because each character gets pitched their own like season 7, and for me, I just keep going thinking that I don't know what story would be perfect for them to do. All I feel in my gut is that there is at least one more story to be told, and then kind of let that, like, I don't think this should somehow like revive the show, because again, I think they've done 6 seasons. I think that they've done the most they can, and if all these actors are getting so much bigger now, it's just tricky getting them all together. Like, as far as you know right now, Yvette Nicole Brown and Don Glover are not going to be in this. Like, no Shirley, no.
Yvette's not on it anymore?
Sorry?
Yvette's not in it anymore?
No, she left after season 5, I think. She came back for one episode in season 6 because she got a new show on CBS or something.
Like obviously, I think anybody that vaguely keeps track knows like Donald Glover's never coming back. Chevy Chase is never coming back, and those are 2 of your like 7 originals. You know, so if you get that out, you're now down to 4.
Well, I know, like, when it came to Donald, I know he did, like, during the pandemic, they did like a live stream together and so on, where they did like a reading of a script or something. Like, so again, like, there's no bad beef. Again, if the time is doable, he will do it. The thing that, and here's the thing, I wouldn't be shocked if it's like the Teen Wolf movie where, like, initially they said Tyler Hoechlin is not attached, and then 2 months later he is attached because they would figure out his schedule. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe, because I know Donald Glover's show Atlanta is coming to an end. I think they've already wrapped filming on that season.
Yeah.
So if there's a genuine interest between both parties, I wouldn't be shocked if he maybe signs on and shows up in some capacity, because, you know,
I've always got the impression, like, always got the impression that he wanted to move away from being a comedy guy. Like, he wants to be the more serious, gritty actor, and I think he always had the impression that being on a comedy show is holding him back from being taken seriously. So I don't know if he wants to move back to that even for one project, because he
Clever.
might lose any respect he feels he's got. He's kind of a little bit hardcore in that, like, I want respect personality. He is not. He is definitely not like his character on Community. He's
We talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
Clever?
he's a very serious and stern person. You know.
Oh, was that Omni?
Glover?
Yeah, Troy, exactly.
So, like, yeah, I mean, I feel like especially because he grew out of YouTube originally when he was doing Derek Comedy with his college troupe, and they had that huge thing. So they had that movie with their mystery team and all that. So yeah, I'm sure he's probably would be pretty apprehensive about returning to anything that might evoke that period.
The only counter argument I would have to that is that because he's now because of what he's been doing for the last couple of years, with his music and his TV shows and his producing and so on, I wouldn't be sure if he maybe now feels more ready to come back at least one last time. Because again, it's not that he would sign up for like a whole season. This is a movie, so like where like he may not have a big role. He may have like a couple of scenes here and there. But I think I would think if I was in that mindset and I got offered, okay, this is the last time you could ever play this character. He would maybe think, you know what, the world now knows me as Donald Glover for all my layers, so like now I would like, so him going back to do Troy one last time, I don't think he would, because I get it, actors don't want to get cast stereotyped or put in or cast typed in roles forever, like, oh, they're just a funny guy or whatever, so typecasted. That was what I was trying to say. So I don't think. But again, we haven't heard from him, so again, all we can do is just speculate. But I think it would be great if they could because I know Yvette was super excited. She shared it on Twitter today, and was happy for everyone and so why. But she has so far not said anything about why she's not coming back. She hasn't answered any fans. So I wonder if the reason they announced today was because they knew that somehow maybe this is gonna get leaked, but they didn't have all the contracts ready. So I think that until this film starts filming, I could see Yvette and Donald maybe coming back, and I think it would be great to see, because with Chevy, I mean, listen, I don't need he can come back because Pierce is dead, but also I don't think anyone wants Pierce to come back. So
I think at the end of it, like, everybody watched that show for either the two girls, Jeff, or Troy and Abed. Like that. No offense to Shirley, but you can do the show without Yvette. You can. She was like the mother figure, but she's probably that character that no one was tuning in solely for her, right? But all the other ones, you need those 5 characters to do that movie, and one of those is Donald, And if they can get Donald on board, I think they can do the movie. But if they don't have Donald on board, don't do the movie. We don't need it. We don't need a show with the 4 of them, and like, I guess Ken Jeong is still on the show.
Yeah, Chang is coming back. Yeah.
Like, no offense to his character, but I think of him as a secondary character still, even though he was on for the majority of the series, Like, I need there to be the main 5 characters, or don't do the movie.
Oh, apparently when Joel McHale tweeted out the news from his account, he actually, instead of tweeting, added, because he added all the cast members, but he missed, instead of Jillian Jacobs, he actually tagged Gillian Anderson from X-Files, and she's like, and she quotes me saying, "Jillian Jacobs, who? I'm in at Joel McHale wiki face." I'm like, that is hilarious.
That's funny because they worked together on the X-Files, so he probably just has her. He probably just has her in his his
recently
followed list. So he started typing in Jillian, not knowing Jillian Jacobs isn't on Twitter anymore, and the first Jillian that popped up, he's like, "That's the Jillian I'm looking for."
So we're gonna start running up things in the next 5 minutes, guys. So if you have any more questions, send them in. But let me see what else people have been asking. Everyone's wondering where is Prometheus on She-Hulk? Yeah, he just keeps they keep popping him in and out.
We haven't seen him in like 4 episodes, I think.
No, I think he was in like 2 weeks ago, because he and Tatiana's friend, Jen's friend, they were, looking for costumes and so on with the
Three episodes ago then.
Yeah, 2
when
or
they
3
went to
weeks.
go to the shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see Nikki every episode, but we haven't seen him
Yeah,
in a minute.
Maybe he's actually going to be playing Daredevil. Maybe it's not even Charlie Cox at all. Oh my god!
He's an alter. He's Earth 615, and he's their Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
Instead of the Earth 2 Oliver or whatever the hell, the Green Arrow over there.
Was he really Earth 2 Oliver? No, I think
not Oliver. He was the Earth 2 Adrian, but Adrian was.
Oh, okay, Arrow. Yeah. I would have. I think I would have remembered that. Actually, something we don't have a lot of questions, but something I could because I think some of you all will get excited for this. So I got a new chair, and it's very fitting for me. So let me just take out my headphones.
Yo.
Oh, it's the fastest chair I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's going to sit so fast.
Yeah.
That's not bad, man.
That actually kind of looks like a hoodie from this angle.
A little bit, kind of. I dig it, though.
Yeah. I need a new chair badly, but I'm cheap. And I could never put one together myself.
When you get the first photos of Hugh Jackman in not in the Deadpool, that would be something. Hugh Jackman in the
Wolverine in a Deadpool costume. Ooh, we're doing an Elseworlds version.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Yeah. I've been sitting on like a kitchen chair for 3 months because like my 2 gaming chairs they broke. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just invest into a good one. So this is the one from Secret Lab. It is expensive. It really is, but I've been comfortable for the first time in 3 months. Like my back doesn't hurt anymore, so I'm happy. So yeah, so if anyone who's interested, if anyone can afford that, and I really do mean like afford because these ain't cheap. Streamlab, just Google it, you'll get to their website. They have like a Superman chair, because this came out like with a line of DC.
Yeah.
So it was one for the Batman and one for Superman. No, Eric did not send me that chair. Listen, he and I were buds, but I don't think either of us could ever send each other something that expensive.
We're getting attacked by the porn.
I will block them. There you go. Bye. There's another one. Let me block that. But yeah, no, Eric. No, he's supposed to be in Vancouver right now, I think.
Yeah, he's directing this episode.
Have you seen it?
I don't know how many days are left in it, but he's the current director. Let me see if. Give me a second here. I'm just going to see if the list has a new director on it yet.
Let's see. We can make this the final question, and then we wrap it up. In the comics, Owen Mercer is supposed to be Eobard's grandson. What do you think are the chances they keep that in Flash Season 9? I don't. I think because the Fawn family tree has kind of been altered in the Flash TV show. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen because in the comics, Bar Allen has a little tie with the Fawn family. But no, I think if anything, Owen will be. He will be Digger Harkness' son, who comes back to Central City with a grudge against the Flash, even though it was technically Arrow that killed off his dad. But I'm just Yeah. My favorite show is the show I probably gets covered mostly is always when they gets blamed for anything that goes wrong in the Arrowverse. So what can you do? Have you watched episodes of Rings of Power? I have. I actually got to screen it a couple of days yesterday. Interviewed a VFX producer for Screen Art, which it's posted. Episode is insane. Do either of you watch Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I'm covering it on the channel.
No.
Okay, so what did you like episode 6, Omni?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty crazy. I like we sat in kind of like one place for longer than we have. I enjoyed that, but it was I don't know, it was fun. I got some questions, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. After that one,
because there's I want to know if there's an explanation for something, and it wasn't just crappy editing. But we'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah,
but overall, it was one of the stronger episodes, I think, of the season so far.
Yeah,
and it didn't even have the fan favorite characters in it at all.
Wait,
It didn't have Durin or Elrond in it, and most people seem to be pretty hyped about this episode.
yeah, no, yeah, when I got it pitched, it was something about like there's supposed to be like something big that happens at that, and I'm like, okay. Then I started watching, I'm like, yep, I totally get now why. No
Mhm.
joke. But ladies and gentlemen, it is 10:31 p.m. on the East Coast, and we're gonna wrap it up here. So I want to thank my my lovely guests, Canagras and Omni, for joining me tonight. But yeah, so next week, me and Jordan are gonna be back. You will get to watch me grow old. You know, maybe I'll have wrinkles. We will see, but we will be back here. We will part of the show will be discussing Werewolf by Night, the MCU special that's coming out on Disney Plus next Friday. So, you know, thanks for that gift, I guess, Kevin Feige. You know, I like if you wanted to give me a birthday gift, you could. I have a list of things you could have gone with instead. But hey, listen, you know, werewolves, you know, creatures, black and white movies. Why not? That's all good with me.
On your birthday, they're going to announce that the Flash season 9 has been canceled.
If they do that, David Zaslav needs to start running.
Uh,
Like he needs to get hit by lightning bolt and get speed.
they're gonna use a tax write down on it. It's never even seen the light of day. You're not even Eric Wallace they're just gonna steal it from Eric Wallace, and you won't even get to see it.
Dear Lord. Yeah, you're right, Triple X. On October 14th, after next week's episode, we will do our big Gotham retrospective because it's as of tomorrow, as of today, it should be on HBO Max now. So, but yeah, as always, there's only one way to wrap up this show, because you know, you all love him, I hate him, but you know, let's take a little.
You like Grayson.
I do not like this one, so let's end the night with some disastrous cicada.
Metas killed your parents, Gracie. They all deserve to die.
Don't believe him, Grace.
How did that not win an Emmy?
I mean, who knows? Who
That scene,
knows?
I can't stomach it every
Well,
time.
Okay, so I'm going to show it one more time. Look at Nora in the background. Pay attention to what she's doing because we noticed it a couple of weeks ago and we cannot stop laughing at it. So just look at Nora in this one.
Metas killed your parents, Gracie. They all deserve to die.
Don't believe him, Grace.
She's just like standing like very like frozen. I'm just like, you good, girl? You okay?
Yeah, I noticed that this time. I was like, what is she doing?
I don't know. But everyone, have a great weekend. Enjoy your first week of October. We'll see you on the next episode of Endless Multiverse. Bye, everyone. Stay safe. And don't invest in Warner Brothers. I don't know.
Or do. It's not my money.
No.